Well, here's a question for you. What do you get when you mix a rom-com with video games and also throw in some complex family drama as well? Sounds good. The answer is you get the latest novel for young adults from an emerging author.
You certainly do. Now, Leanne Yong's debut novel, Two Can Play That Game, is now on bookshelves everywhere, and Leanne is here with us in the studio. Welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me here.
All right, give me your elevator pitch on the story itself. In 30 seconds, what's the story?
Well, Malaysian-Australian teen Sam Khoo has just graduated from high school, and she's desperate to become an indie video game developer instead of going to uni on the scholarship that she has won. So there is a workshop that will basically kickstart her career. It's just that there's very few tickets. When she's about to get one, there's an auntie's son, Jason Chua, who manages to sneakily nab the last one. But thanks to the power of the Asian gossip network, she manages to push him into going into a competition. 5 games, 5 rounds, 1 winner.
Okay.
Whoa. Maybe there's a call.
There you go. Okay, good pitch.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
One thing I was reading were some of the reviews for your wonderful book, and someone said it was deliciously nerdy. And I think the word nerd is often used as a put down, but I think recently it's sort of shifted and people are owning the word nerd, and perhaps it's cool to be a nerd. Would you put this book in that sort of a category?
Yes, I mean, I will very proudly say it is an incredibly nerdy book.
Yeah.
I do think that the whole idea of being a nerd is coming more into the mainstream now, especially as more people are doing or playing games or doing things associated with what is traditionally associated with nerdy. Which is things like, you know, whether it's video games or board games or tabletop games, all those kinds of things, D&D.
Yeah. So you came from an IT sector background too, and you love games as well. I was amazed to read that you actually design escape rooms as well. So we know all that about you, but there's also an interesting point that you come from a Malaysian background as well. How much does that sort of tap into, or how much did you have to tap into that for the book?
Well, it's actually a very large part of the book as well, because the main character, Sam Khoo, is also Malaysian Australian. And I really wanted to explore what would that look like in a rom-com, you know? What does that look like when you're dealing with it from that cultural context? For example, running around, avoiding aunties and uncles who will undoubtedly tell everyone and get back to your parents if they see you with a boy who they were not previously aware of, or, you know, being grilled at family events about, oh, and this person, I saw you there, what's going on, things like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But tell us a bit more about your upbringing and also your relationship with your parents and your family, because I noticed that you pay tribute to your family in the book.
Yes, so this is very much a love letter to my family as well. My sister, my mum, my dad, just because they have been an amazing family, and I wanted to, I guess, show another aspect of that kind of, I guess, Asian family where it's not that the parents are, for example, tiger parents, which you see a lot of in the media. But my family were incredibly supportive the whole time, every time when I was pursuing my passions, my interests, and they were always the ones encouraging me. For example, in high school, when I had a run of bad grades and I was worried I'd lose my scholarship, they were the ones going like, it's okay, don't worry, don't stress about it. You know, if you lose it, you lose it. And I'm the one going, no, I absolutely cannot.
You were the tiger person then.
I was. I tiger parented myself.
Now, what I found interesting in the book is that it's not just straight prose, because there's messages in it as well. So you wrote in messages as well, like text messaging as well. How do you think that actually lends to telling the story?
I think that, especially in this day and age, where a lot of teens are messaging a lot more, I mean, phone calls are not as common a thing now. And so I wanted to, I guess, convey that where normally you might just have a back and forth conversation where you're talking. I feel like a lot of these things happen through text messages these days. So I really wanted it to feel natural in that sense, where you might just have an entire deep and meaningful chat over text, for example.
Yeah.
Leanne, who is this book written for? Is this book for a young Leanne?
In part it is. I really wanted to tell her that, you know what, you're going to be confused along the way. There are going to be parts where you don't know what you're going to do with your life. You're not sure what's happening next, but it's okay. It will be okay. And look, you know, you can see yourself as well reflected in books, in other media. I mean, I love that it's happening a lot more these days as well, but it's very much for her and being like, look, here is the nerdy kid. It's okay. All things will be well.
And this book is a project of blood, sweat and tears, isn't it? Because it's taken you a while. You have been writing for many, many years, and finally this one got picked up. What have you learned in terms of writing and then being rejected, and writing and being rejected? What have you learned along the way to help this book get picked up?
I have definitely learned that persistence is key, because you will get a lot of rejections along the way, especially when it comes to publishing. There's a lot of things like market factors and other things. It has to be a confluence of all the right factors, finding the right person, right publisher, right timing, all of that. And so much about it is just keep persisting, keep going, keep trying, keep writing, especially, so that when the opportunity does come along, you are ready, you are prepared to jump on it, to take it. Just don't give up.
All right, Leanne, you got to keep writing. Anyway, this is your first book. We're looking forward to the next few more as well. Leanne Yong, author of Two Can Play That Game. Thank you so much for being with us.
No worries. Thank you for having me.